So, Sony just released an update for the PlayStation 5 that added unskippable, unavoidable advertisements on the home screen for the PS5. You know how people for years have been asking for Sony to put themes onto the PlayStation 5? Because it was a popular feature on the PS4 and PS3. Oh, I loved it on PS3. I bought so many of them, and actually spent a good amount of money just on the themes to customize the dashboard. But they removed it for PS5, and people were wondering if it was ever going to come back. Well, it's not, and this is the reason why. Because they planned for the home screen to eventually get filled up with these intrusive ads, and you could see this is what they look like. And every time you scroll through a different game on the dashboard, it goes to a different banner ad. Sometimes it's for a new game, in the case of Warhammer Space Marine 2, or a movie, or anything. It's just ads, 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 ads. Every time you scroll through the homepage, you get different ads. And it's definitely a little overkill. It's a little too much. And I know there are a lot of people that won't think twice about this. They won't think anything of it. They'll be like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna play my game. I don't give a shit. But for people like us, that especially who grew up back in the day with the themes, to see it be replaced by fucking adverts that are completely, like, mandatory, you can't, that they're not optional, like, they're just there, it's fucking annoying as shit. I think we're definitely getting to the place with more advertisement in the video game industry. I mean, it's been there forever. Remember the 360 dashboard would always have advertisements placed on there? And that was really ridiculous back in the day, because the PS3 was free online and had no advertisements, while the 360 you had to pay $60 a year. Even back then in the 2000s, you had to pay $60 a year, and you had these fucking ads shoved in your face, which was just a complete slap in the face, in my opinion, because it's supposed to be a premium subscription service, right? You're paying for Xbox Live. You're paying for PlayStation Plus. And you're not just paying, you're paying more. They've drastically increased the prices of both Xbox Live Gold, or whatever it's called now, and PlayStation Plus. Meanwhile, over on Steam, you don't pay a dime for online service. You just buy the games and that's it. That's the only money you ever have to put into Steam. And you get served, you do get ads on the homepage, but it's usually ads that are beneficial to you, like ads that tell you, oh, this game is like 80% off. Maybe if you want to buy it, you know? Like, that's usually what you get on the homepage. They're technically advertisements, but they're good ones, if that makes sense. Because if you're browsing the homepage for the store, then you're probably looking for games to buy. And if it showcases all these games that are on sale or new releases or whatever, like, all that stuff is relevant to you, most likely. And it's still, if you don't want that game, you could just browse through, you know, the store, and it's not intrusive at all. Steam ads are definitely completely unintrusive. Maybe once in a while you'll get a banner ad pop up on your screen, like a pop-up, but it's very rare. It doesn't happen very often, not often enough for me to be concerned or for me to be upset about it. Now, there's a couple more interesting things specifically about the PlayStation 5 ads. One thing is that apparently this update just destroyed the PlayStation servers last night, and people could not get online for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And it was, like, really frustrating a lot of people. Like, if you looked on Twitter, the trend was PSN down, hashtag, and everyone was just talking about, like, what the fuck, Sony, what are you guys doing? Why? And it's not just, like, that instance. It's, like, a lot of the times they do an update, and the servers just get destroyed and get fucked, and you can't play your game. And the thing, I don't know if they do it anymore because I'm not on PlayStation 5, but I remember on the PS4, they used to always do updates, do maintenance during holidays like Veterans Day and Memorial Day and all these different, like, 3-day weekends where it's like, oh shit, I have more time to game, but nope, I can't play because the servers are down. And I just find a lot of irony in the fact that when Sony first announced the PlayStation 4 and it having paid online compared to the PS3, but they were saying, well, we need to do this to maintain the servers, right? It costs money to run the servers for the online. But the servers are even more unstable, and the servers are down a lot more now that you're paying for it on the PS4 and PS5 than the PS3, which was free. And with the PS4, I remember most of the time, I would just, like, try to go to a PlayStation store, and it would just load, and I'd be sitting there for, like, over a minute just trying to load the page for the store. And oh my god, trying to look at my friends list and my trophies and my messages. Like, almost every day, I just could barely get in there, and it took a long time for that shit to load up, and I'm like, I'm paying $60 a year for this? Really? But people are gonna pay for it no matter what, so nothing's gonna change. Say they have no reason to give a shit about what you have to say if you keep giving them money, right? But as far as the ads being introduced now on PS5, this thing is actually pretty interesting. One of them had an ad for Across the Spider-Verse when you went to play Spider-Man Miles Morales, and it talks about seeing the movie in cinemas soon, even though the game came out in cinemas over a year ago. I think it was June of 2023. So that's led many to believe that it is a glitch or a bug or something. It's not meant to actually be like this, and the update caused some problems, because obviously it wouldn't make sense for them to promote a movie and to tell you to see it in theaters if it came out a long time ago, right? Well, Daniel Hyatt, senior product manager at PlayStation, actually wrote a tweet on X. He said, quote, "Everybody settle down. It's just a new bug with an existing feature." So he said that it was just a glitch, just a bug, no problem, except that tweet has since been deleted. Now, if it was just a bug or a glitch, and everything he was saying was true, and not to panic, then he would have had no reason to delete that tweet. So, that's very interesting, to say the least. But then apparently, after he deleted the tweet, Ask PlayStation, the official account on Twitter, said that a tech error with the official news feature on the PS5 console has since been resolved. There have been no changes to the way that game news is displayed on PS5. I love how they call it game news and not just like a straight-up ad, but whatever. So it could be a cover-up, a cop-out at this point, because there was like an overwhelming amount of backlash, especially on social media over this, and they're like, oh shit. Like, I think they were just testing the waters to see, because obviously it's not just a mistake. When you clearly have that infrastructure put in place to have integrated ads into all these different games on the dashboard, like, that's certainly not a mistake or an accident. There's obviously some plans going on here that may be yet to fully materialize, but one day certainly will. And why not? They get away with everything else they do, all the other shady shit that Sony does. They don't suffer any consequences, so why not do this? It's not like people are going to cancel their PlayStations over advertisements. Like, you think that's going to be the straw to break the camel's back? I don't think so. PlayStation customers, despite all the shit they talk and everything they say, they're extremely loyal to Sony, and they're never going to leave them no matter what. I mean, what's their alternative? Microsoft? It's not like Microsoft is so much better when it comes to, like, anything Sony does. Microsoft doesn't do anything better than Sony in terms of business practices, so where else are you even going to go if you're a console gamer? I mean, everyone should just go to PC. That would be the best thing, but a lot of people are just set in their ways. They have to play on a console, even though PC is superior to console in every possible way imaginable. Like, it's a beating a dead horse at this point. I talk about it all the time, but really there's no point in having a console in 2024. It is completely obsolete. But I think stuff like this is just scratching the surface in terms of the ad potential, and what we're going to see going forward is that we're going to get ads placed everywhere, not just on dashboards, but in the actual games themselves. I think we're going to have actual ad integration with video games. We've seen a little bit of it before with a few small examples. I remember Homefront had White Castle, and I think a Needs for Speed game had some like real life banners ads like placed in the actual world of the game. You know, there are a few examples, but it's not a very common thing. I think it's going to go just all in because there's so much money in the advertising industry, and I doubt that these gaming companies are going to resist the temptation for much longer, especially with them trying to maximize profits and make as much money as possible. Even full-price $70 games are going to get the ads, I think. I don't think it's going to just be free-to-play. I think it's going to be everywhere. Ads are going to be integrated in games, during loading screens. Anything you could possibly imagine an ad being placed in, I think it's going to happen, like 100%. So that's like something that we're going to start seeing in the next couple of years, I think, just become a mainstream aspect of your gaming experience, and there's nothing you could do about it. It's just there. I could even imagine Grand Theft Auto 6 having real advertisements in the car radio instead of the fake parody ads that you usually get in the game. Like, I think that is a very strong possibility. Like, just think of that. Think of just, when people think it can't get worse, it always can be. In anything in life, but video games, in this example. Like, oh my god, the video game industry is so bad, the game experience is so bad, can't imagine it getting any worse than this. Well, we'll see about that. Obviously, I'm kind of jumping the gun here, because we're just talking about ads on a banner on the homepage for PS5, but just something to ponder for you guys before I close this video is that there's a lot of money in advertising, and the fact that you see very little of it in video games compared to other mediums like movies and TV shows and such things, I don't think that's going to last much longer. I think these game companies, like, in their head, they're thinking they're leaving so much money on the table by not integrating more advertisements into their games, and by going all in on that, because there's a lot of money involved in that, and I don't think they're going to resist the temptation for much longer. It's gonna suck. It definitely will. I see that as the future of the industry, unfortunately.